Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Vedanta tells us you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect. It's all neti-neti. And when everything is negated, that which remains is what is. We don't have to take these statements too literally. You're not the body, but the body is not apart from yourself. Momentarily, during this appearance in this world in a human form, the body is connected with you, cannot be separate, cannot be apart. But of course, you are not simply the body, you are much more. But that life that is manifesting in the form of a body is what you are. So the statement is not to be taken too literally. It's just one approach that one is detaching, negating. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. Neti neti. Because of this teaching, I had for quite a while misunderstood what to do with the body. I rather was for a long time at the warpath with the body. Didn't want to be limited by the body, didn't want to live in a body, didn't want to have anything to do with the body. At the same time, it was clear I should keep the body healthy enough that I can do what I'm doing, that I can sit there. So this was always ambiguous and creating attention. We can go on that neti-neti approach without getting into a struggle with all these things. Simply learn to detach. But there is also the other approach that you simply include all the levels. Not that we get obsessed with the body, not that we are getting obsessed with our mind, not that we are getting obsessed with our intellect, with our intelligence, being very proud of the intelligence, and obsessed with the mind that we want to figure out with the mind what is real. But can accept, okay, this is an expression of what I am. Momentarily can be used beautifully, employed to express that inner beauty. So we can also include the body. We can, through focusing on the body sensations, bring the attention to the present. It's not that we have to deny that. It's here, now, an experience. It's not something that has happened in the past or in the future. It's happening now. And through that awareness, through that experience, we can connect with that immovable part. Both are expressions, both are aspects The movable, dynamic part is ever changing, never stands still, continuously changing. Even if we sit quietly, not moving the body, there's a lot of stuff that keeps on moving in the body all the time. And the breath is there. Breathe, breathe in, breathe out. It's a movement. It's changing, it's moving, never standing still. And the immovable part, no matter what is happening, no matter the movements, no matter what is going on, it's always there. It doesn't change. But if we bring the attention to the present, focusing on the moving part, on the experience right now, we are touching the immovable. Now, Mariana, he asked me a question. How can we, by focusing on the body, on its weight, on its sensations, on its movement, how can we somehow intensify consciousness? Well, first immediate reply is simply by doing so, simply by consciously being aware. He said he had, after 20 years, he had started to dance, tango dancing. And it's quite an exercise to be in the present. That what is necessary when you want to dance that properly, then you really have to be in the movement, in the now, connecting with the life now. Now, how can we do such a thing in order to intensify consciousness? Exactly by doing what you are doing, Mariano. By not letting the mind slip off, going into dreams while dancing. Once, when you learn, maybe you have to put the attention there. Once it's a bit routine, then it's easy, in spite of that, to slip off with the mind again somewhere. Simply keep the attention in that awareness of the movement, of the energy, of the physicality right now. Be totally into it. Because if you focus on the moving part, on the dynamic that is ever changing, but on that split second that is happening now, you are touching the immovable. Gradually, when you get like in a particular sequence of moving the body, when you learn more about it, gradually you can also put the attention more easily on the immovable part in spite of consciously moving. It's not that we have to have the attention only in one or the other. You can have them simultaneously. So as you are continuing practicing, you can make a point in reminding yourself, while being focused on doing what you are doing properly, be aware that there is also the immovable part there, because without that, this movable part cannot manifest. It's not absent. Even if we are focusing on that which is changing, that changeless aspect is not disappearing. We may just overlook it. Actually, people overlook it nearly all the time. And so it is not simply with when you are practicing for dancing, but you can do that same exercise all the time. Even when you are doing the most mundane chores, you're cleaning out your room, you're cooking your food, you're eating your food. If you start to do that consciously, being aware of the movement, being aware of the body sensations, being aware of the breath, it brings you all the time to that immovable part, because that which you are experiencing is now. And this now in time is connected with that timeless presence. And through that little entry of the present experience, you can connect with that non-manifest, non-changing aspect of you. You will learn while you're doing your dancing practice, but also at any other time. When you are busy, when you are walking, when you are talking, when you are alone quietly, but still moving, when you are sitting quietly, can feel the body sensations, be aware of the breath. It brings you to the present, but then simply let go. In that letting go, in that relaxing, you become more and more aware there is always at the base that immovable aspect. It cannot be absent. We just can be totally not aware of it by focusing on everything else. But in that way, even if you do a thing like dancing, you can turn it into an exercise to intensify your conscious experience right now, to intensify your conscious being alive now. We don't have to create somehow that pure awareness you are aiming at. It's already there. We just have to become more and more aware of it. And one way is to be very little active, and then put the undivided attention on that which makes the experience possible. But another way is also, and because not everybody, it's not natural for everybody that one can just sit down and sit down and sit down and sit all the time. Learn while being in movement to bring the attention simultaneously to that immovable aspect that is not changing, that is not affected by all the changes, and yet is totally, vitally important, necessary, because without that, this moving manifestation, this moving expression could not be there. So whether dancing or not dancing, you can include the body awareness, you connect with that pure awareness. And every attempt you are doing in that direction is conducive to expand your conscious experience. That was your question, how can we intensify awareness through such practices? It's the same like when you're sitting quietly. We are intensifying that awareness by learning to bring the attention to that aspect that is at the base, without which nothing else could appear. And we can use the appearance, we can use the momentary experience. It brings us in touch, but then we don't have to stop there. You can still have the awareness how you are moving, what you are doing, and at the same time be aware there is that base, not simply theoretically, but as a conscious experience. And the most important part of it is that we are bringing the attention to the present, to the split moment of the present, but then get not stuck there on that level completely. And how do we go beyond it? Very simply, by relaxing. Relax, relax, let go. The more you do that, the more you start to experience that after all, the, all these movements, all that we can direct can only exist because simultaneously, as a base, there is that immovable, pure consciousness. It needs a discipline, a mental discipline that we at, at all want to do so. But even if one wants to do so, one has to practice again and again and again, because the habit is for nearly everybody, the habit is that with the thoughts, the attention always soars off into something, into some story, personal story in the past, some story we have heard about, some story that we may just purely imagine and project in the future, or not even project, just let it hang out there in space. But then the mind is so used to always dwell on something like that, on stories, on movements, and doing this, doing that, having done this, having done that, should not do this or that. But we have to learn to consciously give that impulse, turn the attention back to its source, to that which is prior to all expression. If you dance like this, then your dancing is totally, you can call it as much a practice, a spiritual practice, like any other practice. Whatever we are doing, it depends entirely our attitude, our awareness, our alertness, whether we are taking the trouble to really look at it or just half conscious go through everything. It's so easy to slip off because on one hand, we have done it lots and lots and lots. And apart from that, we are connected with all the rest of humanity, and most of the people live like this, only focused or not even focused, but being hooked in all the movements and then being attached to the past, what has happened, positive or negative, attached to the future, what might happen, positive or negative, anticipating things, being restless that something is happening, or being afraid of what could happen, missing being alive, being conscious, being now. We can be active and meditative simultaneously. Of course, it helps if every day there is some time where we are doing nothing else, where we can put the undivided attention simply in being consciously alive here now. But then it needs the discipline that when we get up, when we are with people, when we are in the profession, when we are in the family, when we are active, to remember, be aware what is happening now. Stop dreaming away about the story in the past, about the story that may come in the future. And be conscious, simply here, simply alive, simply aware of being alive, and learn to relax. Okay, I leave that subject for the time being. And then I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who has something ready they would like to talk about?
Hello, Werner.
Hello?
Hi, it's
Hello,
Ravi.
Ravi. There you are.
So today I was just kind of becoming more aware of this pattern that I have that I feel like things need to be done and then I can relax. And um, and then there are some times where I'm aware that I'm going into that pattern, and there's this sense that by going into that pattern, doing whatever I'm doing, I'll feel this sense of everything will be all right and a sense of safety. And there's a part of me that knows that actually at this point in time, what I really need to do is lie down and rest for my own health. So you were talking before about discipline, like it needs the discipline to keep coming back to detaching. And sometimes that discipline is there and sometimes it isn't. So I guess my question is around, is there a way to increase the intensity to want to connect? Um, yeah, something around that is my question.
That we have to somehow convince ourselves that it's worth the trouble, that it's not just a heavy new duty that we are putting on our shoulders. And we can convince ourselves by doing so, taking the first step, but then be observative. And the more we are doing that, the more we become aware. Actually, if I'm living like this, I'm I'm feeling much better. I'm much better. It's not just something terrible that I'm again imposing on myself, but actually it's a way to liberate oneself from holding on to all the other things that we need not to hold on. And the more we are doing so, the more you have a general increase of a sense of well-being. And the more we are consciously experiencing that, the more the motivation comes to really go about it, not to forget all the time.
Yeah. And so it sounds like you're saying there are two parts. The first part is, well, the second part is that as you continue to connect, there's that increases the intent, the desire to want to keep connecting because of the fruits, because how it feels. But the first bit you're talking about, we have to convince ourselves that it's worth it. Is that is that more of like an, I don't know, intellectual, rational logic? It's like having a conversation with a friend and saying,
Yeah,
this is going to be good for you. You're going down the wrong road doing that. Think about
right.
it, please.
It's a bit like that. But people are not aware that they are having these kind of conversations all the time in their head. We are always talking to ourselves. We are
Yeah.
always so instead of talking to ourselves and creating stories and creating fairy tales, we can talk to ourselves. Hey, come home. Come here now. Be aware what is going on instead of being half aware what is really happening, what we are really experiencing, and take off in some kind of mental story that we are creating. It can be memories, it can be imaginations, it can be fears in the future, it can be anything that can just make us miss that sense of being alive. And it's only in the timelessness of the now, in that immovable present, that we are touching reality. So whenever we just going round and round in our head, in our mind, we are escaping from that. And that has become such a habit that it feels, it's much easier, it's much more relaxed to live like this instead of taking the trouble to try to connect. But this is simply out of habit. And when we start to counteract that habit by consciously, by exercising that discipline, consciously bringing the attention back again and again, then gradually it's not more an effort, but it comes more and more natural. And we are getting convinced that it's totally worth the trouble, because the more you live in the present and learn to relax in it, the more that joyousness of existence simply comes palpably to the surface.
I might be over, like I understood all of that, and that's really helpful. I might be over analyzing with the next question. I'll ask it anyway. I get like it's because you're talking about being unconscious, we're just in our mind, etc. And then consciously, when you're conscious, you make a conscious decision. It's kind of made with awareness, or you think you've had a bird's eye view of observing what's happening. So is that conscious part of ourselves, what is it? Is that already connected, or is it a glimpse of feeling connected, but you need to open more space by breathing and going deeper into that, letting go more of stuff and allowing more space for connecting?
Consciousness is always connected. There is not some consciousness that is connected and some other consciousness that is not connected. The content of what we are doing with that consciousness may make us feel disconnected, and we can then get totally caught up in our thoughts, in our stories. We can get totally obsessed with it and missing the fact that actually also that consciousness is always connected. It cannot be disconnected. But our attention, our conscious experience seems to be disconnected, and by giving attention to it, we are coming closer again to make that connection conscious instead of unconscious.
And even that thought of, I'm going down this pattern, I'm going to take a breath, that's
Yeah,
coming from that space of, I never quite understand the word consciousness. I get a bit confused between it, but that's already coming from that space of awareness, of
sure.
connection to self. Right.
What, whatever helps you to turn the attention in direction is a call from your higher self, from the pure consciousness. Hey, bring your attention home. Come home. It's not that you should avoid those kind of thoughts, thinking this is also a thought, this is also doing, as long as we are doing all the time the opposite. This kind of thinking and this kind of doing is necessary to redirect the attention in the right direction, to bring the attention home to that base.
Yeah. And it's not really, can you just please talk about, because there's the try hard pattern that can come in sometimes and go, okay, now I'm just going to be aware of when that happens and I'm going to try to connect. That might have some value too, but it also can come from a pushing space, which isn't healthy. And obviously, you can't control these things. You need to be able to see that you're thinking too much in order to shift the energy. So can you just speak about that, which I'm talking about?
Yes, you can somehow like motivate yourself by starting your day with the intention, I want to remember. Because as long as we don't remember, we cannot do anything. But if you intend, and it's a good thing to start a day like this, intend that I want to remember. And then when the memory comes and I become aware, oh, I've spent quite a while totally unconscious, without a conscious thought, without a conscious experience, but simply absorbed in my mental castles. That at that moment, we consequently, when we remember, connect consciously in one way or another, whether it's then with a conscious breath, whether it's with inquiring in the self, whether it's by connecting with that divine presence in whatever way we are doing so, you just consciously connect. And even if you stay short in that consciousness, this short moment is very valuable. And if we do it again and again, it's getting stronger and stronger and gets its own momentum. And eventually that momentum is stronger than the momentum of the memory, of the habit, of the pattern that wants to pull us away all the time. But you mentioned that you become aware, the pattern is at work. So when you have that awareness, you're already halfway done because you are aware, the pattern is there, because most of the time our patterns pull us into stories without our being really aware of it. And we think I'm making this decision, I'm deciding to do like that, but actually it's just being pushed by the force of the habit, by the pattern. But if you say, then you become aware that the pattern is there, that is already, you have made the first step of not blindly following that. And then you may have the freedom to decide not to follow that, or maybe the pull may still be too strong and you still go into it, but it's totally a different experience when you go into it consciously or whether you are simply unconsciously pulled into it. Because when we go into it consciously, we become aware of the fruits of what we are doing, the sweet and the bitter ones, and we become aware that even the sweet ones by themselves are not capable of making us happy. They can give us a momentary kick, but then that sense of being at ease or at peace doesn't come from there. Sometimes it comes for a moment, but it's simply because in between we have fulfilled some kind of desires and we relax, and there in that relaxation we connect. Or then uh, it pulls you into unpleasant things, but still out of habit, uh, you're not capable of simply turning away from it. And you go into it consciously, into these unpleasant situations, and that very much very deeply creates the motivation, but I want to be free of it. I don't want to be a slave of my old patterns anymore.
Aren't the habits, don't we have control? Like you talk sometimes, like you just said then, sometimes the habit's too strong.
Yes.
But often if I see my habit and I go along with it, it does have an energy. But ultimately, do we all have choices?
We do have the choices every moment, from moment to moment, whether we blindly are being just swept along by whatever forces are there, or whether we at least attempt to redirect the attention. Sometimes we are successful, sometimes we are not successful, and you don't have really a choice or control how successful you are at that moment. But whether you are attempting or not, that is a freedom, that is a choice that there is there all the time. And that one we can exercise relentlessly.
Yeah. Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome. Hario, Hario.
Carry on.
there anybody else who would like to come in? Okay, then let's dwell a moment on the same subject. Do we have choices? Do we have a choice? Because some people teach very intensely that there is absolutely no choice. This kind of teaching can help the student to relax more. It is useful to let go of loads of guilt that we are carrying along. Guilt about having done this, having done that, having misbehaved. Many things everybody has in the memory, in the story, so many things. One thinks, oh, that was not very nice. Oh, there I have not very well behaved. Oh, there, why have I behaved like a fool like there? Why have I done this? I may have hurt somebody unnecessarily. And there is a lot of guilt connected to it. And if somebody starts then to believe there is absolutely no choice, that may be a help to let go of that whole load of guilt. But it has the tendency also to take away that creative spark, that one then becomes a bit lazy in the mind and think, okay, since everything is already in such a way predestined and I cannot do anything about it and I have no choice at all, then the motivation to really be creative is somehow disappearing. We may not have as much choice as we think we have, because there are always so many energies involved in the present moment that have an influence, that influence also our choices. And even if we choose a direction that influence whether we are capable or not, whether we are successful or not. But we have always, at any time, in any situation, we have always the choice either to redirect the attention to the base, to the source, to that which makes the experience possible, or to be completely swept away by the content of the experience. Helplessly, mindlessly, rather as a victim of the situation. And we are not. We need not be. And even if we have been living in that victim consciousness all the time, there is always, anytime, the choice at least to attempt to step out of it. Many times we may not be successful. But we should not get disheartened because of that, but just accept, okay, the habit is too strong. Got me again completely, even when I had a glimpse, a moment of recognition. After that, already forgotten and sucked into the story, completely forgetting about it, forgetting about it. But we can intend to remember, and we can, when that memory comes, say, no, I don't want to helplessly go down that alley again. And if that's strong enough, I may just turn around and do things differently. But if the habit, if the pull is too strong, then I may still go down that alley again, but at the same time, I remember to connect and not identify with what I'm doing there so helplessly and totally, but always remember I can turn the attention back to that which is not affected by all this. I need not be a helpless victim in this story. a victim of the story, because somebody has written the script and I cannot do anything about it. You are that creator yourself, and you have that creativity, that power. It's not absent. It's never absent. It's there in everybody. We just have to have that little discipline of exercising the possibility of redirecting the attention. And even if you are not capable, we can attempt to redirect the attention. And even if many times it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then people tell, oh, it doesn't work, I can't do anything. Instead of getting then in that defeated mode again, then simply keep on attempting, and then sometimes it really works. Simple, easy, and sometimes it doesn't work. But if we keep on doing that, if we keep on attempting not to be swept away by old patterns, by habits, by all these forces that were outside of our conscious control, but we attempt to bring the attention back to that aspect that is not affected. If we consciously keep on doing that, then it happens also sometimes. There is just that connection, there is just ease and peace, there is that freedom of breathing and relaxing and feeling expansive. It may have come totally unattended at that moment, effortlessly. But then the habit is too strong and we start again and it goes round and round, but at least that moment gives us the inspiration. Yes, it's possible, it's worth the travel, for the existence in such a way becomes so totally more fulfilling. We don't have full choice in what we are doing or not doing. Too many factors are involved. We don't may have the power always to simply detach and bring the attention back to the source, because too many factors are there to disturb us from that. But we have always, every moment, the possibility to consciously attempt to do so. And those who attempt it, for them it's getting gradually easier and easier. And those who keep on doing so, attempting that, that load that we are carrying along gets lighter and lighter, and gradually one becomes so fully, deeply convinced that it's a much better way to exist, that it happens more and more effortlessly. And if one continues to do so and not settles down and think, now I've gotten quite somewhere, so in my life starts to feel quite comfortable enough. But even if the life becomes nice and the circumstances are happy, if we don't stop bringing the attention whenever we become aware how apparently disconnected it is, bringing bringing it back, bring it back, and connect consciously and let go, then eventually the attention may be sucked in so deep into that immovable space that we simply don't lose it anymore. We have, from moment to moment, the choice. But we have that choice only if we are aware that we have that choice. And we try And we do, and it starts to happen. But if we push that awareness away and think, oh, I can't do anything, so there we go in the usual way, on and on, instead of loosening the patterns that bind us, apparently, we make them even stronger in that way. We have a choice, we don't have a choice, both is true, but we have the possibility at least to attempt. And if we exercise that power, if we exercise that choice on and on and on, this is the way to liberate oneself from all those imagined bondages that have become so strong because we haven't questioned them, because we have thought about their result all the time and made everything to appear so totally real. Once we stop just accepting that as reality, then the door opens that we can start to redirect the attention. But the more we exercising that possibility, the easier it becomes, the more we letting go of old stuff that is unnecessarily hanging on to us, and the more your life becomes joyous and expansive. And this is the direction, not simply to live a happy life, but to really open up and present ourselves, making ourselves available that we can completely let go of that sense of bondage and playfully, joyously continue our journey. Okay, my friends, I'm asking once more, is there anyone who would like to come in? You are welcome to do so.
Hi.
Hello, Leela.
I had so many questions while you were talking and answering the people here. And I stayed in this question about being a victim, believing that I'm a victim, specifically emotionally, meaning not in cases when somebody, God forbids, torturing me emotionally or physically, but like in my own story, being a victim of an event in my life. And all of a sudden, my understanding, or now it's a misunderstanding about being a victim, is like was it disappeared. Actually, it disappeared because what makes me feel a victim are the thoughts about the event. If I have difficult emotions, like on Wednesday, I had a difficult day and I came back home. I was away from here, and I visited my little grandchild, and it was a difficult day for me. And I came back confused and and sad. And I don't remember thinking of the word victim, but somehow I was a victim.
Mm.
And as I said, of course, it's okay to feel sad or frustrated or to have thoughts about the future if I want to change anything in this relationship. It's okay. So now when I'm talking and also listening to you, I thought I mean, can we actually control this emotion, feeling about being a victim? I don't think I was a victim, first of all, not of anybody else. Second of all, also not of myself. It's okay. I thought negative. I had negative, as I said before, negativity, difficult emotions. But I wasn't a victim.
Mhm. Right. And people usually don't think about whether they are victims or not victims. They simply live their life, have their experiences, most of the time resist and struggle with them, and not being aware that actually they moving as victims through their story, because they want, everybody wants to, in one way or another, consciously or unconsciously, want to be in control that things are the way they like it, the way I like it. I want to be in control that things are turning nicely, and then we are not in control, and then that feeling of frustration and being a victim is there, whether one recognizes it as such or not. But when we become aware of that mechanisms, then that doesn't mean we can control, because of that, all the outer experiences, the outer happenings. The, the politics are still there, and the whole story of humanity is still there. But in my personal experience, I can turn the attention to that aspect that is not affected. And then in my personal life, as a reaction, still there can come sadness when some things happen that make me sad. But then you can experience sadness without being a victim of it. You can experience sadness and accept the emotion and experience the emotion consciously, and then it's not a bad experience. Or we can be sad and resist against the fact that why we have become sad, and then become worse and worse and worse, and get full of self-pity and drain our energy away. We are making the consciousness smaller like this. But if we learn to accept the fact of the experience right now, okay, I was there and the experience was not nice, accepting basically that it is, not try to turn it wrongly into something, oh, it was wonderful. When it was not wonderful, it was not wonderful. You can accept it, but then we don't have to think it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be, but accept and observe all the reactions, all the emotions that come, and be aware there is always that space that is not affected. And the more you live like this, the less that victim mode is there.
Yeah. So it's like the inner speech about what is actually happening, and it's very difficult to separate. When it's difficult emotions, the habit is to either to make a story or to, I don't know,
Right?
think there was a story or there is a story, and yet somehow we mix it with our emotions, with our reactions, and then it becomes the whole thing, and then it's also there is a victim. Or just like be with the difficult emotions, which is not so easy, as it's not our habit.
Yes, exactly. You gave the answer. It's not easy because we have the habit to do the opposite, to to not be with our emotions, but then keep around the subject that brought the emotion about, and fight with the subject and think it's not right and it shouldn't be like this, and why is it like this, and it being at a war with what has happened, instead of watching how I am reacting if we start to do so, if we really sincerely start to do so, the very process is not so difficult of just redirecting the attention from what brought the emotions about to the emotions themselves and see how they are manifesting physically, energetically, and learn to let go. It's not such a difficult thing to do. It's simply to have the motivation to go about it instead of lamenting about what has happened. That is something we have to learn because nobody has really taught us like that. But one feels, yes, that one has totally the right to be in that frustrated victim mode.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to family, in my case at least, the pain is deep. Probably for many people, when things don't go the way we expect them to go, um, or the story we make, yeah, it's yeah. In family, it's more difficult to deal with, so
Well,
challenging.
it's more difficult because energetically we are specially connected with family first, and second, because there is more attachment. Attachment
Yeah,
to the people, attachment to our ideas, how it should
yeah,
be. And
yeah,
because strangers, we may be touched and moved when we heard that story, but it's not something that one is so attached to it. Whereas in the family, that attachment is there, and that makes it more difficult.
right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have tears and yet I can laugh a little bit. So it's, yeah.
that's good.
Okay.
Shall we
Okay,
leave it?
Werner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hurry on.
yeah. Thank you. Hurry
You're
on, hurry
welcome.
on.
Hurry on. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Attachment. Let's talk a moment about attachment. Traditions, they tell us, the spiritual traditions, they tell us detach, detach, detach. But what does it really mean? It's really what I'm endlessly talk about. When we are attached, then things happen, and instead of accepting the things that they are as they are happening, we oppose, we are not happy, and we cannot accept the fact of the experience and rebel against it and hold on to the story, hold on to our ideas, hold on to I want it to be like this, I want it to be like that, and getting all tense about it. And what I'm talking about is all the time see these tensions and learn to relax, learn to let go. And that relaxing in itself is the detachment we have to learn. And that relaxation, most of the time, it's only possible if we look at the story and don't fight with the fact. Accept the fact as it is, not defeat it, simply as a neutral observation. Okay, this has happened. But then bring the attention to what this is doing to our experience right now. My emotional reactions, my energetic reactions, my intellectual not wanting to be it like this. Bring the attention to that and see what kind of tensions we are creating, and repeatedly creating tensions like this with a certain person, with a certain subject, with certain things is what we are calling attachment. And it builds up tensions. It builds up the possibility to be unhappy. That whenever something touches a bit our little story that we have put, that we have made according to our own liking, and holding on to whenever something touches that, then we feel irritated or threatened or unhappy and suffer. The key to it is to become aware that we are doing it. And we can become aware if we return the attention to, instead of holding on to the content of the experience, return it to the effect the experience has. See what it is doing to my experience, see how I'm reacting, and then simply keep that in the focus and not the story where it came from. Feel the unease in the body, energetically, that we are creating with our reactions. And then to let go, learn to relax. And even if we are not capable of relaxing completely, but giving the impulse to relax means we have already basically stopped being at war with what brought it about. But then it's an internal affair, domestic affair. I'm doing this to myself now. I'm building up tensions. It's hurting me. It's not necessary. And I can relax. And even if I give the impulse and it's not relaxing, it's still relaxing somewhat. And as I said before in the other context, it is the attempt that changes the situation. And gradually we are getting more and more capable of then, no matter what is happening, rather instead of being with the things that happen, being at war with them, finding them terrible, terrible, more and more we can just watch our body, mind, intellect, the emotions that it produced, and then learn to let go. Learn in the body to redirect the energy instead of getting all caught up in the belly and building up like a big stone in the belly that is getting worse and worse. You can see how it's getting attention there, and then relax the whole system, and then let that energy flow up through the body to the top of the head and distribute, transform this peaceful energy in our whole system. This consciously relaxing, this consciously at least attempting to relax, even if it's not very successful, that is detachment. Okay, again I'm asking, is there anyone else who would like to come in?
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Nelly.
I want to thank you again about what you say about relaxation. This is a very important thing for me, and you know that many years it was very difficult for me to relax. And during last years, I see that it happens better and better. And even recently, one moment, I felt something like a glimpse.
Yeah.
Something beautiful. Yes, I just was watching TV, I was knitting, and I felt that some energy inside me, and like it was fooling me, full, yes,
Yes.
fooling me, yes. And my main practice and to give everything to God, I was always try to give everything and let Him be full me and manifest in me as He wants. So I went on doing this, just relaxing, just trying to relax, and was going to feel this like this energy fooling me, and I felt more and more relaxation. I put away my knitting and just stopped my movie and just was sitting and feeling this, and I was so much enjoying and felt a lot of gratitude for that. It's very important present for me because relaxation was always difficult, and now in my daily life I try to relax as often as I notice that I again in my thoughts, again I'm caught in with any ideas, and I feel that some tension in my body, and I just say, just relax, just God, take this, all my ideas, and just take my grasp, yes, when I want to catch something.
Yeah.
Yes, and I feel this tension in my arms, because before I didn't feel, I thought that all my tension is in my first chakra, and I was trying to relax there, but now I feel that my hands are in tension, and face and all other parts of the body, and so I just try to relax anytime, and it works. Now I feel that it really began works in me. So I'm very gratitude for that, and thank you for your remind all the time about relaxation, and that you tell that any attempt is valuable. And now I feel it.
All this time that you tried to relax and had the feeling that you cannot relax has, in spite of that, brought something about, huh?
Yeah.
It was not for nothing. All those attempts, one has then maybe the tendency, okay, I try to relax, I'm doing it. Sometimes somebody is there who is always connecting, and I tell them, and that person says, I'm doing it, it's not doing anything.
Yes, it was the same with me, because I was trying, and felt nothing, that nothing helps, nothing happens,
Yes.
and just doesn't move anything. But in the end, it may take, in my case, it took many, but in the end, I feel this, and it's really very valuable. So I see that it doesn't matter how many years it takes. It's important that in the end it comes. Yes.
Yes. If one has that patience and perseverance, and in spite of not feeling much of a success, then every time one attempts to relax, to let go, even if one doesn't feel much, it still does something. And subtly, it's building up and getting stronger, and eventually it starts to manifest, and then we become aware, it's not so difficult as it appears to be. But one had to get through that resistance that was there by just attempting without feeling too much of success. But uh, never, not a single time was for nothing. It always slightly builds up something that becomes stronger, and eventually that helps us to be ready that really it can start to work. And there we can continue and intensify it and getting more and more subtler about it. That not simply with gross emotions that want to really move us about, but more and more in very subtle emotions that come along, see them and relax them, and the process keeps on refining itself.
Yes. Thank you, Werner. Thank you very much.
You are
I
welcome.
go on doing this.
Go on
Hari
like
Om.
this. Very good. Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in, say something? Hello, Dial. You have to somehow do something that we hear you.
You cannot hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Now
You can. Okay.
Yeah.
So, good. I just finished 2 weeks retreat Vipassana and want to share. It was very strong course, very serious, very bad weather. We have very cold, a lot of snow.
Yeah.
But I was able to work all these days, about 12 hours. And also I see this small attempt, you try and slowly moving something, slowly improving something. And I see little changes. And at the end of the course, I talk with one man and he shared me very deep experience, which I not have, but I coming closer to it. And I see something try to show me it's possible, you try, you continue.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to say thank you to you. And yes, I see it's need a lot of efforts. Yeah, like 12 hours every day I was trying and sitting. But what to do? This is our situation, and we have to slowly, in our own rhythm, moving somewhere. So I'm also trying. Thank you, Werner.
You are doing a great job. And of course, that is your approach. Meditation comes naturally to you. So you have been doing these retreats again and again. That doesn't mean now everybody has to make retreats. What means is the sincerity, that we really have an honest look at ourselves and see where we are creating the barriers. If you sit a lot, that gives you a lot of insight, then helps you to discern this, to become aware of it. But not everybody has this kind of makeup that they want to sit for hours and hours and go into retreats again. But what really counts is that sincerity, that we remind ourselves to look, to really honestly look what's going on, where we are creating the barriers, and then learn to let go, learn to detach. And also in this way, a continuous attempt will bear fruit. But it's great. You could continue doing your Vipassana and sit. That's great. That does you a lot of good.
Yes.
Yes.
And see you soon, Werner. We planning to come to Tiro. So we are expecting soon we will come.
Soon you will come. Very good.
Yes.
You're welcome.
See you. Thank you.
Hurry up, hurry up. Let's stay just a few minutes, simply quietly together. We have created this space together so we can benefit from the increased intensity that it produces to easier be conscious, to easier be conscious in the present moment, to easier be conscious of being conscious, of being alive. Let's spend a few minutes doing just that. Be here, be now. It helps if you are aware of the breath. But if somebody prefers to go about it in a different way, it's perfectly valid also. Here, now. Consciously alive. Thoughts may want to come in. We can let them come, but don't get interested. Redirect the attention back home to that immediate, direct awareness of being here, now, alive, conscious. And relax, 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 relax. Not slipping off into stories, dreaming away. And even if we catch ourselves how we have gone, don't get interested. Simply bring the attention back to that immediate direct awareness of being consciously alive now. That sense of conscious presence. And relax. Not getting interested in the stories, in the thoughts. They still may come and go. Prior to that is that sense of presence, that most familiar sense of presence. Not even giving way to the temptation to think about that sense of presence, to analyze, to explain. Just be. Consciously alive, here now. Not with increasing tensions, but ease, peace, relax. Whatever is happening, it comes, it goes, it changes all the time. But that sense of presence is prior, immovable. Come home to that. Even if after that we get up, everybody goes their own way, we can remember this space is always there, this immovable base, is pure conscious, is pure energy, is pure love, is never absent. And we can bring that awareness in every moment of our activities. I wish you all well. Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om.